What's going on with y'all? It's Jeff Lightsy Jr. And ESPN has just aired their part one of their docu-series about Michael Vick. It's a two-part series, and there's a couple things that stood out to me in that. The first one that I noticed was Bobby Bowden's comments after he played Vick in the national championship game. He said in about 10 years, this was in 2000, I want to say, he said in about 10 years, we're going to have a million Michael Vicks running around. Now, it wasn't 10 years, but the NFL is full of Michael Vicks. College football is breeding them. And now the NFL is literally carbon copies of what Michael Vick was doing in 2000 to now. And essentially what it is that the players have become smarter and they're putting in harder work ethic. I mean, Lamar Jackson, Russell Wilson, Patrick Mahomes, Deshaun Watson, like all of these guys are just carbon copies of Michael Vick with better arms and more accurate passers. So that was the first thing that stood out. But the second thing and the more important thing that stood out to me about that documentary, about part one, was how influential the people Michael Vick kept around him was to his downfall, right? Like Michael Vick was the $100 million man in Atlanta. Arthur Blank writes him a check for $100 million to make him the franchise quarterback moving forward. He was every kid's favorite player. I mean, I know I grew up in the Vick era. We loved us some Michael Vick, but it was the company that he kept is what eventually led to his downfall and sent him to jail. And I compare this a lot to Antonio Brown. So when I made the video about Antonio Brown saying that, he's embarrassing his family and that he needs better friends, I got a lot of backlash for that. A lot of people got on me because they were like, you don't know AB and he's a grown man. And what do you mean his friends? He needs better friends. No, he does need better friends. And he can learn a lot from this Michael Vick situation. Michael Vick had a bunch of these guys from Newport News, and he was hanging out with those guys, and he bought a mansion out that way with a whole bunch of land, and that's when the whole dog fighting thing started up, and Michael Vick wasn't even there. Oh, he was there a lot, but when everything went down, they were searching his house, and it was because of a lot of those dudes. Michael Vick was still in the NFL, so he couldn't even been there the majority of the time. But it was the company that he kept that led to him, because he was the owner of the property that found all these dead dogs and all this dog fighting ring and stuff went down in. That's why he went to jail. And so you look at Antonio Brown, and he's out here doing all this craziness. Now, you can blame it on CTE. You can blame it on a lot of things, which probably plays a part in that. But it's the fact that he doesn't have the friends that he needs around him that is ultimately leading to his downfall, that led to him being arrested and potentially serving some jail time. So the company that you keep is so important. And that was just reestablished after watching this Vick documentary, or at least part one. Part two is going to dive deeper into the dog fighting and everything, because they kind of stopped right when he bought the mansion. So in the documentary, they stopped. They in part one, right when he buys the mansion, and they start to build up with the dogs. They said, one dog comes in and two dogs, and friends come in and they smoke weed and they do all of this stuff. But it was just so mind blowing to me, the similarities between Michael Vick. Now, obviously, Antonio Brown isn't out here fighting dogs, but he's cursing out policemen. He's attacking U-Haul drivers, delivery truck drivers. You know what I mean? Like, he's doing little bitty crazy things that could potentially send him to jail for a very, very long time. And part of that, he's doing it with his trainer. It's part of that is because of the people that he's keeping around him. And that is the same thing now that led to the downfall of Michael Vick. Now, we've seen these episodes a million times, but it was just, that's all that kept ringing through my mind when I was watching this Michael Vick documentary. And it's just like, wow, like I'm really watching the same thing happen to a superstar. You got to think, at the time Vick was arrested, he was a superstar in the NFL. Antonio Brown last year was a superstar in the NFL, and it's like a carbon copy, the same thing. So hopefully it doesn't take significant jail time for Antonio Brown to realize, I got to switch this up. I got to change something. And hopefully he doesn't have to serve 2 years in jail like Vick did. And he can get it together soon. I'm wishing Antonio the best. You let me know. Do you see the similarities that I see between Michael Vick and his downfall and the downfall that's taking place with Antonio Brown? Once again, my name is Jeff Lightsy Jr. Thank you for watching. Continue to hit the thumbs up button, like, subscribe to our videos. We're coming with more and more content all the time. Thanks for watching. Peace.